why it's actually a good time to buy a house according to a Zillow economist.
So a bit of self-interest here, let's be clear.
Well, here's the thing. I don't mean to pick on Zillow economists, but I kind of do. And the reason why, it's not because of any personal feelings toward them. I don't know any of them. I'm sure they're all smart guys and girls, and they're doing their thing working for Zillow. But Zillow arguably has more information on housing than anyone else in the world. Is that a fair statement to say on U.S. housing?
Up there. I mean, it's tough for me to come up with would MLS have more or not. Doesn't matter.
They're
Top
amongst
three.
the people who should be most qualified to speak on housing. And yet, during a time when housing was absolutely booming, Zillow, through its business of buying and trying to flip homes, lost $1 billion on housing in 2021 and early 22.
Got to spend money to make money, Chuck.
Despite having more information on housing than anyone else. So forgive me if I hear, hey, Zillow thinks this is a good time to buy, and I say, I'm just not sure that that's how I would go about it right now, because your track record wasn't great in arguably the best, flipping market ever, quite honestly.
So let's lay out the arguments for and against.
Here's what they say in terms of here's why this is a good opportunity to buy. Home prices projected to fall a little bit by the end of the year on a nationwide basis. Obviously, all real estate is local, but saying, okay, things might be getting a little bit cheaper there.
And so if the prices are in the midst of falling, you might be able to drive a harder bargain.
Hey, if interest rate cuts end up coming and push rates down, maybe that lack of competition for buying goes away and prices start to move back up. Okay, kind of reasonable. I could understand that. And by the way, inventories they mentioned are starting to level off a little bit. Here's now the counter to all this. Inventories are leveling off because they always level off this time of year. They don't continue building into year end normally. This is a standard seasonal thing and has nothing to do with whether home prices are going to go up, down, or sideways in the next decade. Second piece is one of the things that's cited by this economist is the reason why some of the deals might be better now is because in places like Texas, Florida, and Louisiana, home insurance premiums have been going up and may continue to go up, which to me says, hey, maybe you're not actually getting that good of a deal because those costs could continue to go up.
And the economist does bring that up. A huge part of whether or not this is a good deal is dependent on how much more these insurance premiums need to increase over the next 5 years, which is scary. That's a scary premise. I guess...
Here's the other piece that I just always come back to, and this is very much how this very much informs how I think about housing, for your primary residence. If you're buying, rentals, I'll be 100% honest, I don't have a clue. You're better off listening to anyone else but me. On your primary residence, I think I have a pretty good opinion, which is if you find the house that you like in the location that you like at the price that you can afford, don't worry about whether you're getting a good deal or not. Try to get the best deal that you can for that property, but ultimately buy the house if it fits all those criteria.
Because here's another thing that I don't think this is what's going to come to pass, but I was listening to an economist that was getting interviewed this morning, and her outlook was, I think, different than the overall narrative on the state of the economy. Her outlook was, in the short term, the Fed may cut rates, but their general outlook was 5 years from now, interest rates are going to be higher than where they are right now, which I don't think is the
not
craziest thing that I've heard, but it's definitely not mainstream. And so I would put myself into that buyer that you were just referring to, which is, hey, I can afford the home, I can afford the payments, even at a 7% or whatever it is mortgage. It's in an area I like, and it's the right home for me. Imagine waiting that out for a moment and saying, hey, I'm waiting for the buyer's market, and I know a year from now more homes are going to come because prices are moving so quickly. And you end up getting a 5% price decline on that similar home that you like a year from now, but mortgage rates go up by 2%. Right? These are all possible outcomes that people need to think about. And that's the nice thing about a mortgage is it has optionality to the downside only.
Your cost, as long as you're getting a fixed rate mortgage, your top line cost on that mortgage piece is fixed. It can't go higher. Now, your insurance premiums and things like that can move up, so you do have to be cognizant of that. But if rates move lower, great, you can always refinance.
That's why Warren Buffett calls the 30-year mortgage the best deal in, I don't know what he calls it, like the best deal in the United States is the 30-year mortgage.
I thought that would be 2 Diet Cokes for $1.
Yeah. He's kind of right. There's nothing that compares to it, and it's partly because it's subsidized, or largely because it's subsidized by the United States government. But I think it's important to kind of do that thought exercise every once in a while, which is, hey, everybody knows that interest rates are coming down. That's being telegraphed everywhere. You've got Fed economists talking about it. You got the president talking about it. What if the exact opposite happens? How does that change your life? Well, and you have to plan for both of those scenarios.
You do. And the other thing just on the mortgage, the one that I always like to come back to that always really gets everyone all upset when I say this, but it's true, and I say this as someone who has a mortgage. If you've got a fixed rate mortgage, it's rent control for you. Now, again, I think we can look at it and be like, hey, we don't want rent control because of reasons X, Y, and Z, and here's why generally you don't want that.
And by the way, before you say, oh, no, it's private businesses, deciding to do this, no. The United States government forces those companies or incentivizes those banks to issue 30-year fixed-rate mortgages. If the U.S. government was not buying them off their books, they would not issue them.
Now, there wouldn't be a set price for every house, so it's not rent control in the aggregate. But when you have a fixed-rate mortgage, it is rent control. Your rent cannot go up. And so ultimately, it's something that benefits you tremendously if you can do that. Mm-hmm. All the other stuff about will I get a better deal down the road or will home prices go up? Quite honestly, who cares? Your home is meant to provide you with shelter, stability, and a place that hopefully you like to be in. And so again, I come back to, if you like the house, if you can afford the house, and you say, great, like this is going to work, okay, like go for it. Don't worry about trying to get the best deal on a house. And by the way, I'll go even one step further. If, like, just as an example, if you walk away from a house over less than 2% of the cost of the property, you're doing it wrong. Okay? Average property in the United States right now is $400,000, let's call it. The median property. Let's call it $400,000. If I've got $8,000 and I'm saying, hey, I got to get this down by by $8,000, by 2% in order to make this work. Mortgage is 360 payments. Even factoring in interest, you're talking like $25, $26 a payment.
Yeah.
If you're walking away from a place over $25 per mortgage payment, stop going out to dinner one time a week. Or going out to lunch, because now that's like a Chipotle with a drink. If it's $25 and you can make everything else work, but you're just like, no, I got to get the deal. What are we really doing here? Like, it's just, find another way to get the $25 a month is kind of what I'm getting at, if everything else works. Now, if you can't afford the place and you're making this argument, that's obviously very different. But if you're just like, no, I don't.
I can only afford this home if interest rates come down by 2% in 5 years and I can refi.
In that case, it's like,
Bad
no,
idea.
Absolutely don't go buy the house. But if it's, well, I don't know if I'm getting a good deal and I really want to push this, guys, don't haggle over $25 a month. Find a way to, cut your budget elsewhere or something and get the house that you want.